Dr. Naira Prabhu pressed her forehead against the cold glass of the observation deck, watching as another snowstorm engulfed the Himalayan Space Research Facility. At this altitude, the storms were frequent and fierce, but they provided perfect isolation for her sensitive equipment. The quantum acoustics array needed absolute stillness to detect the faintest whispers from deep space, and there were few places on Earth more removed from the cacophony of civilization than this mountaintop sanctuary. Dr. Prabhu. The soft voice of her research assistant, Thomas Kumar, broke through her reverie. The latest data set from the QA array is showing something unusual. Naira turned from the window, her dark eyes fixing on the holographic display floating above Thomas's tablet. The familiar wavelength patterns she'd been studying for the past 5 years had changed. Where there should have been the random noise of cosmic background radiation, she now saw something structured, almost melodic. "How long has this pattern been present?" she asked, reaching for the tablet. "That's the thing," Thomas said, running a hand through his graying hair. "When I noticed it this morning, I went back through our archives. The pattern has always been there, just buried. It's like we've been listening to a symphony orchestra, but only hearing the percussion section. Now, suddenly, we can hear the strings." Naira's fingers danced across the holographic display, isolating frequency bands and applying various filters. The pattern remained, becoming clearer with each refinement. "This isn't random," she muttered. "These are deliberate frequency modulations. But at this scale." The implications made her hands tremble. Sound wasn't supposed to travel through space, there was no medium for the waves to propagate through. Yet here was evidence of something that defied conventional physics, a symphony playing in the void between stars. "We need to wake up Director Hassan," Naira said, already reaching for her comm unit. "And get me a direct link to the quantum computing lab. We're going to need significantly more processing power to analyze this properly." As Thomas hurried to comply, Naira returned to the window. The storm outside had intensified, snow swirling in complex patterns that seemed to mirror the frequency waves she'd just observed. She'd spent her entire career studying quantum acoustics, theorizing that sound could be used to manipulate matter at its most fundamental level. Now, staring at the data that suggested someone, or something, was already doing exactly that on a cosmic scale, she felt a mixture of excitement and dread. Director Samira Hassan arrived 20 minutes later, her usually immaculate uniform slightly rumpled from sleep. Despite the late hour, her mind was sharp as she reviewed the data. "Have you checked for equipment malfunction?" she asked, though her tone suggested she already knew the answer. "3 times, Naira confirmed. "We've run full diagnostics on the array and cross-referenced with our backup systems. This is real, Director. Something out there is generating quantum-level acoustic patterns across vast distances of space." Hassan's dark fingers drummed against the console. "Do you have any theories about the source?" "Nothing concrete yet, but..." Naira hesitated, aware of how speculation could damage scientific credibility. "The patterns are too precise to be natural. They show signs of mathematical optimization that suggest artificial origin." "You're saying it's alien technology?" Thomas asked, his voice barely a whisper. Before Naira could respond, the holographic display flickered and changed. The frequency patterns shifted, becoming more complex, more ordered. Numbers began scrolling across the screen, coordinates, Naira realized with a start. "It's not just technology," she said, her voice filled with wonder and fear. "It's a message. And I think it just noticed us listening." Director Hassan straightened, her military training evident in her posture. "Lock down these findings. No one outside this room is to know about this until we've had a chance to analyze the security implications. Dr. Prabhu, I want you to dash." She was cut off by a low hum that seemed to emanate from everywhere at once. The sound was felt more than heard, a vibration that set teeth on edge and made the air itself seem to quiver. Equipment throughout the lab began to resonate, creating a haunting harmony that grew in complexity with each passing second. "Shut it down," Hassan ordered, but Naira was already moving to the controls. "I can't," she reported, fingers flying across the interface. "The array isn't generating this. Something else is." The hum continued to build, and Naira watched in fascination as the snow outside began to move in impossible patterns, forming complex geometric shapes in midair. The sound was somehow manipulating matter itself, confirming theories she'd spent years developing but had never been able to prove. "Look," Thomas pointed to the holographic display. The coordinates had resolved into a clear message, repeated in multiple mathematical sequences that left no doubt about its artificial origin. Naira felt her breath catch as she translated the simple but profound message. "We hear you. Do you hear us?" Director Hassan was already reaching for her secure phone, likely to contact whatever authorities handled first contact scenarios. But Naira couldn't tear her eyes away from the display, where new patterns were forming. The symphony in space was expanding, becoming more complex, more beautiful, and more terrifying with each passing moment. She had hoped to prove that sound could be used to manipulate the quantum fabric of reality. Now, as the humming grew stronger and equipment throughout the facility began to resonate in harmony, she realized she had proven far more than that. She had proven they weren't alone in the universe, and their first contact would come not through light or radio waves, but through the fundamental frequencies that shaped reality itself. "Director," Naira said, her voice steadied despite her racing heart, "I don't think we have time to wait for authorization. Whatever this is, whoever they are, they're expecting a response. And I think..." She paused, watching as new patterns formed in the swirling snow outside. "I think they're getting impatient." The hum reached a crescendo, and for a moment, Naira could have sworn she heard music in it, beautiful, alien, and utterly terrifying in its complexity. As she stood there, surrounded by the impossible symphony of quantum frequencies, she knew that humanity had just stumbled onto something far beyond their understanding. The question now was whether they would learn to play along with this cosmic orchestra, or find themselves drowned out by its overwhelming power. And somewhere, in the vast darkness between the stars, something was waiting for their answer. Commander Marcus Sterling stood before the holographic display in the Earth Defense Initiative's underground command center, studying the cascade of data from the Himalayan facility. 30 years of military service hadn't prepared him for this moment. The quantum frequency patterns pulsed with an almost hypnotic rhythm, a cosmic melody that defied everything humanity thought they knew about physics. "Run it again," he ordered, his weathered face illuminated by the blue glow of the display. "Show me the progression from first contact." Lieutenant Reza Daller, his chief science officer, nodded and reset the simulation. The patterns began simple, almost natural-looking, then evolved into increasingly complex structures. "The progression is mathematical," Reza explained, his fingers tracing the waves in the air. "Each new pattern builds on the previous one, like they're teaching us their language." Marcus rubbed the scar that ran along his jaw, a souvenir from the resource wars of 2149. "And Dr. Prabhu believes these beings, these harmonious, are using sound to manipulate quantum space." "Not just sound, sir." Reza pulled up another display showing the strange formations in the snow outside the Himalayan facility. "They're demonstrating their capability to affect matter through quantum acoustics. It's like they're showing us their technology while simultaneously making first contact." The commander's steel-gray eyes narrowed. 8 hours had passed since the initial contact, and already the world's power structures were shifting. Every major military and scientific organization was scrambling to understand the implications of a species that could manipulate reality through sound. "Sir," a young communications officer called out, "we're receiving a priority transmission from Dr. Prabhu." The main screen flickered to life, showing the quantum acoustics researcher. Dark circles under her eyes suggested she hadn't slept since the contact began. "Commander Sterling, we've made a breakthrough in decoding their mathematical language. They're not just sending messages, they're sending instructions." Marcus straightened. Instructions for what, Doctor? For building a quantum resonance chamber. They want us to construct a device that will allow direct communication. She paused, her expression a mixture of excitement and concern. Commander, the physics behind this, it's revolutionary. They're showing us how to create controlled quantum fields using acoustic waves. This technology could change everything: energy production, transportation, medicine. Or weapons, Marcus finished quietly. He'd seen too many scientific breakthroughs turn to military purposes to be purely optimistic. Have you begun construction? Director Hassan has authorized a prototype, but... Dr. Prabhu hesitated. We need EDI's resources to complete it. The material requirements are substantial. Marcus turned to Reza. Your assessment. The science officer brought up a new display showing the technical specifications they'd received. The technology is beyond anything we currently possess, but the principles are sound, if you'll pardon the pun. They're not giving us everything, just enough to build a basic communication device. It's like teaching a child to build a radio without explaining integrated circuits. They're managing first contact carefully, Marcus mused. Giving us enough to talk but not enough to be a threat. He turned back to Dr. Prabhu's image. What's your read on their intentions, Doctor? They've had multiple opportunities to demonstrate hostile intent, she replied. Instead, they've been patient, methodical, even educational. But Commander, there's something else you need to see. The display split, showing a new set of frequency patterns. These were different, sharper, more aggressive. We detected these patterns approximately 1 hour ago, Dr. Prabhu explained. They're coming from a different source, much further out in space. And they're not harmonious at all. Marcus felt the weight of command settling heavily on his shoulders. You're saying there's more than one alien species using this technology? The patterns suggest not just a different source, but a different philosophy entirely. Where the harmonious use elegant, interwoven frequencies, these are discordant, almost violent. She paused, letting the implication sink in. Commander, I believe we're picking up echoes of a conflict we don't yet understand. The command center fell silent except for the soft hum of equipment. Marcus studied the competing patterns, seeing them now not just as scientific data but as potential intelligence about an interstellar political situation humanity had stumbled into. How long until the resonance chamber can be completed, he asked. With EDI's resources? 48 hours, Dr. Prabhu replied. But Commander, there's a catch. The chamber requires specific rare earth elements in quantities that will be noticeable. If we begin gathering them, other nations will know what we're doing. Marcus nodded slowly. The global political implications were already giving him a headache. I'll handle the diplomatic side, Doctor. You focus on the construction. But I want EDI personnel involved every step of the way. If this thing can manipulate quantum fields, I want to know exactly how it works before we switch it on. As the transmission ended, Reza approached with a tablet showing new data. Sir, we're detecting similar construction projects beginning in Russia, China, and the European Union. Everyone's received the same instructions. Of course we have, Marcus said grimly. They're not just making first contact with the United States, they're reaching out to all of humanity at once. The question is, why the rush? The answer came 3 hours later, when the discordant patterns suddenly intensified. The new frequencies were so powerful they caused seismic disturbances across the globe. As Marcus watched the readings spike, he understood with crystal clarity, the harmonious weren't just making contact, they were preparing humanity for something. Get me a direct line to the Joint Chiefs, he ordered. And tell Dr. Prabhu to accelerate construction of that chamber. Something tells me we're going to need it sooner rather than later. In the Himalayas, the snow continued to dance in impossible patterns, while in deep space, two very different symphonies built toward what could only be an epic crescendo. Humanity had been given front-row seats to a cosmic concert they didn't yet understand, and Marcus Sterling had a feeling they were about to become more than just spectators. The resonance protocol had begun, and with it, humanity's first steps into a universe where sound shaped reality, and music could become a weapon of mass destruction. As he studied the competing frequency patterns, Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that they weren't just being taught, they were being recruited. Lieutenant Xena Blackwood had spent her entire career studying how to turn sound into a weapon. Now, standing before the completed quantum resonance chamber in the EDI's Sonic Warfare Division, she wondered if humanity had been thinking too small all along. The frequency modulation is stable, she reported, watching the holographic readouts dance across her station. The harmonious are transmitting directly through the chamber now. The massive device dominated the underground facility, its crystalline structure pulsing with internal light as it translated alien frequencies into something human minds could comprehend. The air itself seemed to vibrate with potential energy. "Translation matrix online," announced Dr. Prabhu from her station. The scientist had barely left the facility since the chamber's completion 3 days ago. "We're receiving clear communication." Commander Sterling stepped forward, his face illuminated by the chamber's ethereal glow. "This is Commander Marcus Sterling of the Earth Defense Initiative. We are receiving your transmission." The response came not as words, but as a sensation, a complex harmony that somehow formed concepts directly in their minds. Xena felt her specialized neural implants, designed for sonic warfare, tingling as they processed the unusual input. "We greet you, children of Earth. We are the harmonious. Time grows short." "Short for what?" Sterling asked, but Xena was already reading the other frequencies, the ones that weren't part of the direct communication. Her implants were picking up something else, something that made her blood run cold. "Commander," she interrupted, "there's more data coming through on the subsidiary bands. The discordant, the other aliens we detected, they're not just sending signals anymore. They're moving." The chamber's displays shifted, showing a three-dimensional map of local space. Multiple objects were approaching the solar system, their passage marked by ripples in the quantum field. "They come to silence all songs but their own," the harmonious transmitted. "As they have done to countless others. We offer you the means to preserve your melody." Dr. Prabhu's hands flew across her console. "The technical data they're sending, this isn't just communication technology. These are weapons designs." Xena felt her implants resonating with the new information. The principles were similar to the sonic weapons she'd worked with, but scaled up to an impossible degree. "They're showing us how to weaponize the quantum resonance field itself." Sterling's expression hardened. "Why help us? What do you get out of this?" "All songs are part of the greater symphony. The discordant seek to impose a single, terrible note upon the universe. We fight to preserve the harmony of diverse voices." "Sir," Xena called out, "I'm detecting new signals. The discordant, they're broadcasting too." The chamber's harmonious glow was suddenly shot through with jarring pulses of red light. A new sensation filled the room, not the elegant harmony of the harmonious, but a brutal, overwhelming force that made everyone's teeth ache. "Submit to the one true frequency. All other songs must cease." Xena's implants nearly overloaded from the intensity. Blood trickled from her nose as she fought to maintain her connection to the system. "They're not just communicating," she gasped. "They're attacking." The chamber's crystals began to vibrate at dangerous frequencies. Dr. Prabhu rushed to stabilize the system, her fingers dancing across multiple interfaces. "They're trying to overload the resonance field. Your primitive attempts at harmony are an offense to the pure sound. You will be silenced." Sterling turned to Xena. "Can we block them?" She was already ahead of him, routing power through her neural implants to help modulate the chamber's defenses. "The Harmonious gave us the base technology, but my team has been adapting it. Combining it with our own sonic warfare research. If I can just..." The chamber's crystals shifted color, the angry red pulses gradually fading as Zena's countermeasures took effect. She felt the pressure in her head ease as the discordant's assault was deflected. Impressive, the harmonious transmitted. You adapt quickly. But this was merely a taste of their power. How long do we have? Sterling demanded. Days. Perhaps less. They travel through quantum space using frequencies that distort reality itself. Conventional defenses will mean nothing. Zena wiped the blood from her nose, her mind racing with possibilities. The weapons designs they sent us, we could never build them in time. But maybe we don't have to. She turned to Dr. Prabhu. Your original research on quantum acoustics, you were studying how sound effects matter at the fundamental level, right? The scientist nodded slowly, understanding dawning in her eyes. You want to modify our existing sonic weapons using the harmonious principles. Not just modify them, Zena said, her implants humming with new ideas. We can use the resonance chamber as a template to turn Earth's entire atmosphere into one massive quantum acoustic lens. If the discordant want to impose their frequency on our world, we'll show them why humanity's song isn't so easily silenced, Sterling finished. They worked through the night, Zena's sonic warfare expertise combining with Dr. Prabhu's quantum acoustics knowledge in ways neither field was meant to be used. The harmonious continued to transmit data, helping them refine their adaptations, while the discordant ships drew ever closer. You understand the risk, the harmonious transmitted as they worked. What you propose has never been attempted. The energies involved could tear your atmosphere apart. Better that than submission to the discordant, Zena replied, making another adjustment to the global frequency matrix they were building. Her implants were now permanently synced with the chamber, giving her an intuitive understanding of the quantum acoustic fields they were manipulating. Dr. Prabhu looked up from her calculations. The atmospheric resonance grid is at 60% coverage. But Lieutenant, the power requirements for what you're proposing will drain every power plant on Earth, Zena acknowledged. For about 3 minutes. That's all we need. Sterling had been coordinating with governments worldwide, convincing them to link their power grids to the project. Now he turned to Zena. The discordant will detect what we're doing. They'll strike before we're ready. Good, Zena said, a fierce grin spreading across her face. Because we're not building a shield. We're building an instrument. And I intend to show these discordant that humanity knows how to play. As if in response to her words, new alarms blared. The discordant fleet had crossed Jupiter's orbit, their passage distorting space itself with the power of their quantum drives. The final movement of this cosmic symphony was about to begin, and Zena Blackwood, humanity's first quantum acoustic warfare specialist, was ready to conduct. Captain Rajesh Malhotra watched from the bridge of the ESS Nightingale as the last atmospheric resonance satellites took position in Earth's orbit. His ship, originally designed as a deep space research vessel, had been hastily retrofitted with quantum acoustic generators based on the harmonious technology. The modifications had turned the sleek vessel into something entirely new, humanity's first sonic warship. Final satellite deployment confirmed, reported his tactical officer, Lieutenant Olivia Santos. Global coverage at 98%. The atmospheric lens is ready for activation. Through the view screen, Rajesh could see the strange distortions in space where the discordant fleet approached. They had crossed Mars' orbit now, their passage leaving reality itself twisted in their wake. The void between planets rippled like water disturbed by stones. Status report from ground control, announced Communications Officer Gene Park. Lieutenant Blackwood has successfully integrated the orbital network with the surface resonance chambers. Commander Sterling is requesting all ships move to designated harmonic points. Rajesh nodded, his dark eyes fixed on the approaching distortions. Helm, take us to position Alpha. Begin charging the acoustic generators. The Nightingale glided into position, one of 12 ships forming a precise geometric pattern around Earth. Each vessel had been placed according to Dr. Prabhu's calculations, their positions corresponding to natural resonance points in the quantum field. "Captain," Santos called out, detecting massive energy spikes from the discordant fleet. "They're accelerating." The distortions in space intensified, and suddenly the discordant ships became visible. They were enormous, their hulls twisted into impossible shapes that hurt the eyes to look at. Reality bent around them as they moved, their very presence an offense to the natural order. "Your resistance is discord," the transmission boomed through every speaker on the ship, making the crew wince in pain. "You will be tuned to the one true frequency." Multiple targets emerging from quantum space, Santos reported, her voice steady despite the pressure building in everyone's heads. "Counting 30, no, 50 capital ships. Energy readings are off the scale." Rajesh opened a channel to all Earth forces. "This is Captain Malhotra. All ships, initiate sonic barrier protocols. Remember your training. We are the instrument of humanity's survival. Let's show these discordant what Earth's symphony sounds like." The quantum acoustic generators powered up across the fleet, their energy combining with the atmospheric resonance grid. Rajesh felt the vibrations through the deck plates as his ship became part of something larger, a planetary defense system unlike anything in human history. "Discordant vessels launching attack frequencies," Santos announced. "Impact in 30 seconds. The enemy's first strike manifested as visible waves in space, reality itself distorting as their weapons approached. These weren't conventional energy weapons or projectiles, they were focused beams of pure quantum disruption, designed to alter the fundamental forces holding matter together. "Barrier grid online," reported Engineering Chief Dmitry Volkov. "Resonance field stabilizing, but sir, the power drain is enormous. We can't maintain this level of output for long." Rajesh watched the tactical display as the discordance attack reached their defensive grid. The enemy frequencies slammed into Earth's atmospheric lens, creating a sound that existed somewhere between noise and emotion. Everyone on the bridge grabbed their heads as the competing frequencies battled for dominance. "Lieutenant Blackwood, now!" Rajesh ordered. From the surface of Earth, massive resonance chambers activated in precise sequence. The atmospheric lens transformed from a simple barrier into something more complex, a quantum acoustic amplifier on a planetary scale. "Energy signature from Earth," Santos called out. Sir, it's beautiful." The combined frequencies of 12 billion human voices, channeled through the resonance technology, rose to meet the discordant assault. But this wasn't just sound, it was humanity's defiance given form, their determination to exist transformed into a weapon. Multiple discordant ships showing signs of quantum instability, Santos reported, excitement creeping into her voice. "Their hull frequencies are being disrupted." "Impossible," the discordant transmitted, their overwhelming confidence showing cracks for the first time. "Your species is too primitive to wield the true sound." This is what they feared, Rajesh realized aloud. Not our technology, but our diversity. Every human culture, every voice, every kind of music we've ever created, it's all being channeled into the resonance field. We're not trying to match their pure frequency. We're drowning it out with a full orchestra, Chief Volkov finished, grinning despite the blood trickling from his ears. The discordant launched another attack, this one aimed directly at the Nightingale. Rajesh watched calmly as the quantum disruption beam approached his ship. "Activate secondary resonance pattern. Show them why we named this ship after Florence Nightingale." The ship's acoustic generators shifted frequency, producing not a defensive barrier but a counter-melody that intertwined with the planetary symphony. Where the discordant sought to impose order through a single overwhelming force, humanity responded with complexity, with harmony, with the organized chaos that had defined their species since they first learned to make music. "Sir!" Santos exclaimed. "The harmonious, they're joining the battle." New ships appeared at the edge of the solar system, their arrival heralded not by spatial distortions but by waves of pure harmony. They moved with fluid grace, their technologies working in perfect synchronization with Earth's defensive grid. Your song is strong, the Harmonious transmitted. Now let us add our voice to yours. The battle transformed into something beyond conventional warfare. It was a clash of philosophies expressed through quantum acoustics, a war fought with symphonies instead of bullets. The discordant's pure frequency met a wall of human music backed by harmonious technology, and for the first time in their long history of conquest, they began to falter. Discordant ships breaking formation, Santos reported. Their resonance patterns are destabilizing. They can't maintain quantum coherence under this level of acoustic complexity. Rajesh watched as the first enemy ship literally fell apart, its matter unable to maintain cohesion as its controlling frequency was overwhelmed by the combined human harmonious symphony. Others followed, their impossible geometries collapsing into more natural shapes before dissolving entirely. This is not the end, the discordant transmitted as their fleet began to retreat. Other songs will be silenced. The pure frequency will prevail. Maybe, Rajesh responded, though he knew they couldn't hear him. But not today, and not here. Earth's song will continue. As the enemy fled, their spatial distortions fading like ripples in a pond, the crew of the Nightingale began to understand what they had accomplished. Humanity had not only survived its first interstellar war, they had helped win it with the power of their own diversity. Message from Commander Sterling, Park announced. All ships to maintain defensive positions. The Harmonious are requesting a conference. Rajesh nodded, his eyes still fixed on the spot where the discordant had vanished. They had transformed their entire planet into a weapon, gambled everything on the strength of human culture and creativity. And somehow, impossibly, it had worked. Send word to ground control, he ordered. Tell them the Nightingale stands ready to conduct the next movement of Earth's symphony. Something tells me this concert is far from over. In the space around Earth, 12 ships held their positions, their quantum acoustic generators humming in harmony with the planetary defense grid. They had proven that humanity's voice deserved to be heard among the stars. Now they had to figure out what song they would sing next. Dr. Naira Prabhu stood in the transformed Himalayan facility, now the central hub of Earth's quantum acoustic defense network. The same window where she had first observed the strange patterns in the snow now showed a very different view, massive resonance towers stretching into the sky, their crystalline structures pulsing with internal light as they maintained humanity's protective harmonic field. The atmospheric matrix is stable, Thomas Kumar reported from his station, his hair now completely gray from the stress of recent events. The harmonious modifications have reduced power consumption by 60%. Naira nodded, studying the holographic display that showed Earth's new defensive capabilities. The planet was now enclosed in a complex web of quantum acoustic frequencies, a symphony of protection that would prevent any future discordant attacks. But more importantly, it had become something else, humanity's first instrument for communicating with the cosmos. Dr. Prabhu, Lieutenant Zena Blackwood called from her station, her neural implants glowing softly as they interfaced with the resonance network. The harmonious delegation is ready for the final calibration. The massive quantum resonance chamber that dominated the facility's center came to life, its crystals singing with otherworldly harmonies. The harmonious representatives appeared within, not physically, but as patterns of light and sound that somehow conveyed their presence more truly than mere matter could have. The adaptation of your species continues to impress, they transmitted. In mere weeks, you have mastered technologies that took others centuries to comprehend. Commander Sterling, who had arrived for this historic moment, stepped forward. We had good teachers. And a strong motivation to learn quickly. The chamber's harmonies shifted, displaying a map of known space. Dozens of points of light indicated other civilizations that had joined the harmonious coalition, each contributing their own unique frequencies to the greater symphony of resistance against the discordant. The defense network is ready, Naira announced, her fingers dancing across the control interface. But I believe we can do more than just protect Earth. The quantum acoustic principles you've shown us, they have applications beyond defense. Explain, the harmonious prompted, their transmitted curiosity clear in the subtle modulation of frequencies. Naira gestured, and new displays appeared showing her latest research. By modifying the resonance patterns, we can use the network for faster-than-light communication, for clean energy production, even for environmental restoration. The same technology that defends us could help us heal our planet. From his station aboard the orbiting Nightingale, Captain Rajesh Malhotra's image appeared on the main screen. We're detecting interesting harmonics from the lunar colonies as well. It seems the reduced gravity environment affects the quantum resonance patterns in unexpected ways. That's not all, Lieutenant Blackwood added, her implants pulsing as she interfaced with the global network. The sonic warfare applications we developed. They can be reversed. Instead of disrupting matter, we can stabilize it. Heal it. The medical implications alone are revolutionary. You see beyond mere defense, the harmonious transmitted, their approval evident in the warming harmonics. This is why we chose to aid your species. Not just for your resistance to the discordant, but for your ability to transform tools of war into instruments of creation. Commander Sterling's weathered face broke into a rare smile. Speaking of creation, I believe Dr. Prabhu has something to share about the next phase of our collaboration. Naira brought up her final set of calculations, the project she'd been working on ever since the battle ended. We're calling it the Concordance Initiative. A way to combine Earth's musical traditions with quantum acoustic technology. Not just for communication or defense, but for art. For exploration. For pushing the boundaries of what's possible when different species combine their songs. The display showed a new type of vessel, one designed not for war but for harmony. Its quantum acoustic generators were arranged like the strings of a vast musical instrument, capable of playing the very fabric of spacetime itself. You would join us among the stars? The Harmonious asked. We would join the greater symphony, Naira corrected. But we'll bring our own instruments, if you don't mind. Earth has many songs to share. The chamber's crystals pulsed with what could only be described as joy. Then let us begin the next movement together. As if in response, the resonance towers outside began to sing. But this wasn't the harsh battle song they had used against the discordant. This was something new, a harmony of human and alien music, of technology and art, of defense and creation. The snow swirled in complex patterns, dancing to this new symphony of cooperation between species. Lieutenant Blackwood's implants glowed brighter as she connected with the network. Signal from the lunar colonies, they're matching our frequency. And Mars base is coming online now. The whole solar system is joining the chorus. Commander Sterling turned to Naira, his expression thoughtful. When you first detected those patterns in the quantum background, did you ever imagine it would lead to this? Naira watched as the holographic displays showed humanity's music spreading out into space, joining with the songs of other civilizations in a cosmic symphony of cooperation. No, she admitted. I was looking for a way to understand the universe. Instead, we found a way to add our voice to it. The quantum resonance chamber hummed with potential as Earth prepared to take its place among the starfaring species. They had faced the music of war and emerged stronger, not just surviving but transforming the experience into something beautiful. Now they would face their greatest challenge, learning to play in harmony with the rest of the galaxy. The discordant will return, the Harmonious warned. They always do. Let them, Lieutenant Blackwood said fiercely. Earth's song is strong now, and getting stronger. We're ready to help protect other civilizations, to teach them what we've learned. Besides, Captain Malhotra added from orbit, the universe is big enough for many different songs. The discordant's mistake was thinking that harmony means uniformity. Naira placed her hand on the chamber's crystal surface, feeling the vibrations of a dozen alien songs mingling with Earth's own music. They had started this journey seeking knowledge and found themselves in an interstellar war. But they had emerged with something far more valuable than just military technology. They had found their voice in the cosmic chorus. "The next movement begins," she said softly, as the combined songs of Earth and its new allies filled the facility. "And this time, we all play together." Outside, the snow continued its elegant dance, no longer moved by alien forces but responding to humanity's own mastery of quantum acoustics. The resonance towers reached toward the stars, ready to defend, to create, to explore, and most importantly, to add Earth's unique voice to the greatest symphony the galaxy had ever known. The silence between the stars had been filled with music, and humanity's song would never be silenced again.